Hi Pisces, happy birthday and welcome to your March 2020 Astrology 33 reading. Thank you to those of you who've liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, and donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. For those of you interested in booking a personal reading with me, I actually won't be offering those for a while. I might start them back up around April. If I start any earlier than that, though, I'll definitely make an announcement on the community section of the channel, so be on the lookout for that. Or also when I do the April videos, I'll make an update as far as when I'll be starting the personal readings up again. As for what we have in front of us, this is what I call the bridging the gap spread. And the way it works is the cards on the left side represent your energy toward the connection with your main love interest. Cards on the right side represent their energy toward the connection. These are the past energies, present energies, future energies. And then once we get through those, we'll actually pull some oracle cards with some additional insight. That's where the bridging the gap dynamic comes into play. As for the decks being used, on the left side we have the Lover's Path Tarot. On the right side we have the Tarot of Sexual Magic. And if you do feel like the energies are flipped, more like these seem like your energies and this seems like the other person's energies, then definitely trust that since it is just a general reading. All right, so with that out of the way, past energy on your side, we have Queen of Cups. So this is actually the court card for Cancer energy, but obviously since you guys are water sign as well, this could definitely represent your energy. And with this being in the past, I would say that this definitely shows that you had some romantic interest in this person. And whereas with the Queen of Cups in traditional tarot, she has her cup closed off and her back would be facing away from the spread, which would mean she's a bit closed off. For a lot of you, I feel like you definitely were a bit open to the connection, but you might have just been trying to feel it out and see, what this person was about. So maybe not necessarily too communicative with them, but definitely at least open to seeing what they were about. And, definitely having some feelings for them, maybe not outwardly expressing them, but at least keeping an eye out for them and see what the connection could lead to. Past energy on their side, we have the Knight of Swords. So this is actually the court card for Gemini energy. So for some of you, it could have been a Gemini you were dealing with, but what this can be saying, given the artwork here as well, could just be saying that maybe their approach was a bit too, maybe they came across a bit too controlling for you, or maybe a bit aggressive. And, maybe that was something that you were trying to feel out if you could work with that or not. Now, I do have to say that this card comes up for me a lot when Mercury is in retrograde, since it is the card of Gemini, and Gemini is ruled by Mercury. So this can't even just be pointing to maybe during the retrograde, which is still taking place now, maybe there could have been some confused communication between the two of you, and maybe they might have come across a bit more controlling or a bit more aggressive than they meant to. So that could have been what's at play too, especially since the retrograde is taking place in your sign. So that's what I see there. Present energy on your side, we have the Nine of Staves. This is actually the equivalent of the Nine of Wands, which is Sagittarius energy. For you guys, Sagittarius is your 10th house of career. And also they're the natural ruler of the 9th house. So this could just be saying that something in your higher, looking at things from a higher vantage point, something might be telling you to be a bit guarded around this person. And it could just be saying that maybe your focus is on career right now as well. So that could be another thing at play, that maybe you're just more focused on your career. And because of that, you might not have as much energy to actually put into the connection. So you're a bit closed off and guarded because of that. So that's what I see there. Present energy on their side is the Tower. So I do have to say, some of you could be dealing with the Scorpio because they had the Tower in their reading as well. But beyond that, this could just be pointing to, now in this deck, rather, this card is often referred to as a betrayal card. Now, what I can see here, because I don't see that the two of you were necessarily together in the past, so technically there's nothing to betray if you guys weren't together, right? So one way this could be playing out for at least some of you could just be saying that they might have gotten impatient, which could be another indicator of the Knight of Swords energy, and maybe because they were impatient with you and you might have seemed a bit closed off and guarded with them, they might have abruptly cut the connection off. And again, that could just be a retrograde thing too, right? Where generally speaking, if people leave during the retrograde, they end up coming back around at some point. Usually doesn't stay final. Another way this could be playing out too, though, could just be saying that maybe because you might have become a bit closed off with them, they might have assumed that there was something else going on, right? Like if you guys were communicating a lot in the past and now all of a sudden that seemed to come to a stop and you didn't necessarily give them a reason why, right? Then maybe they were thinking that, oh, well, there must be someone else in the picture. And but either way, I feel like for either scenario, I feel like it's this person in the present that's actually cutting off ties with the connection. Future energy on your side, we have the Queen of Arrows. So this is actually Libra energy here. And as we could see in this card, it has, in this deck, or whatever, it has Venus on the card too. So if we think about the Venusian energy, this could just be saying that this is you being in a more receptive mode and letting things come to you. I do notice the body language is a bit different from the Queen of Cups, right? As far as she's not looking towards the cards on this side, wherever she's, kind of leaning in and looking that way, but not as much, which could just be saying that you might have just gotten to the point with the connection where you might still be open to having something with this person, but at the same time, if not, you're fine with moving on, so it could be a bit of indifference in that regard, where you're just, letting things come to you, being in a more receptive mode as opposed to actively trying to pursue anything with this person. And on their side, a lot of cards came up. So let's see what we have. We have the Four of Cups, which is Cancer energy. Four of Wands, which is Aries energy. Six of Cups, which is Scorpio energy. The High Priestess, which actually usually I do see as Pisces energy. And the Eight of Swords, which is more Gemini energy. So a lot of cards here. What I'm really seeing here is, well, for one, this person seems to definitely be all up in their head now. So again, it could have just been as simple as, like I said, maybe the energy might have changed between the two of you, and this person might have just gotten impatient and, blown their top over the situation rather than asking you what was going on. Again, effects of the Mercury retrograde, right? They might have overreacted and completely cut the connection off. And now they're stuck in their head about it, realizing that maybe that wasn't the right move. Whereas it seems like you're pretty relaxed and you're fine with whatever happens. So pretty interesting there. But with the Four of Cups, I see this as either they're getting a lot of offers, which is traditionally how we would see the Four of Cups, and they're just not happy with them. But with this artwork in particular for this deck, I'm thinking that this is more of, there could just be people trying to give them advice for how to handle the situation, and it could just be saying that maybe that advice isn't the best advice, because the whole setting of this card just looks a little bit shady to me. Like, it looks like this person's out of place. It looks like they're looking over their shoulder to make sure someone doesn't see or hear what they're doing, right? So it could just be someone might be giving them bad advice. Could have even been that maybe a rumor was spread too by someone with ulterior motives and might have messed up the connection to begin with. But with the Four of Wands here, to me, that does show that they do actually want to have a connection with you and possibly, build something stable with you. The Six of Cups does show that they would still be thinking about you. The Six of Cups is definitely a card of nostalgia, especially with this deck in particular. You could see she's looking at a painting of two people, right? So it could just be them reminiscing about the connection with you. Now, High Priestess showing up here is interesting because it could just be saying that, obviously emphasizing that it's you that they're thinking about, because like I said, a High Priestess is often a Pisces energy for me. But this could also just be saying that maybe they're even turning to tarot, for example, astrology, just turning in any way they can to try to figure out how to get the connection back on track between the two of you. And then with the Eight of Swords, it could just be saying that they're not quite ready to make that move just yet. If we think about in the traditional tarot, the Eight of Swords is someone who's not ready to make a move. As far as from our perspective, it looks like they could easily get out of the situation they're in, but they're just not quite ready to do it. So again, I feel like it's definitely like they're trapped in their head. And this can just be something that they've been, doing in the past as well. Because this figure in the corner there is actually the same artwork as the Devil card in this deck. So that could just be saying that this could be a repeated cycle that they might find themselves in. So again, like I said, maybe the main thing is they could just be very impatient And then if energy changes between two people, they might just, completely take it the wrong way and overreact. So that's what I'm seeing there. The bottom of the deck on their side, we have the Ace of Wands. So definitely shows that at the very least, they definitely still have an attraction for you. And this could represent them actually, again, like I said, I feel like they do want to engage with you again, but looks like they could just be trapped in their head about it and not quite ready to make that move just yet, but at least this is something that they want to do. And the bottom of the deck on your side, we have the Five of Staves. So this can just be saying that maybe you have a lot of options at play too. And maybe that's the situation, and maybe that's even where it came in too, where they might have seen a lot of people in your environment and just assumed that, if communication seemed a bit off between the two of you, maybe they assumed that you were with someone else, right? Um, or maybe this is saying for somebody that you want them to compete for you too. That could be another way it's playing out. But at the same time, too, with the looks on the faces of the people, it looks like these two people have a bit more of like looks like they're smiling, a bit more playful energy, and the female energy there doesn't look like she's too impressed with what they're doing. So that could be how it's playing out too, where some of you, you don't want all of this ridiculousness going on, and you rather something more calm, right? So that could be what's at play there. But we'll see what the Oracle card's going to add to the mix. So first, we'll see if we get anything from the Mystic Moon Oracle deck I have here. And for those of you who haven't seen this reading from me before, I actually do pre-shuffle this deck before I start recording. And what I'm looking for here is some jumpers. So first we'll be looking for unspoken messages from you to them, and then from them to you. If I shuffle for a while and nothing comes up, then I'll just take that as a sign to keep moving, since it's just a general reading. But let's see if we get anything. Like I said, first we'll be looking for unspoken messages from you to them. All right, nothing coming up there. So next we'll see if we have any unspoken messages from them to you. Oh, got one there. Okay. Card we got here was I just wasn't ready for you. Interesting message there. I feel like that would have been more like something on this side. Almost where like you seemed like you were the one that was a bit laid back. But I could see how that could be the case too, where, again, as far as like, let's say if we're looking at it from a maturity standpoint, right? Where if you're at the Queen of Cups level and they're at the Knight level, right? Maybe you just were a bit more mature, and them reacting the way they did might have been a display of some immaturity, right? Like I said, maybe they were being a bit impatient in the past and coming across a bit too aggressively, where you were trying to take it more slow and be more calm. And maybe they're coming to that realization that, oh, okay, maybe I overreacted and was being a bit childish in the past, right? So that could be what's at play there. Like I said, it definitely looks like they're all kinds of stuck in their head, or will be rather, in the future position, trying to figure out how best to reach out to you. Whereas it looks like you're pretty cool and calm about everything. Where, like I said, I do feel like you are still interested, but you're in more of like a take it or leave it kind of mode. Whereas they're definitely losing it a bit, trying to figure out how to get things back together with you. All right. Next, we'll pull a card from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck here. And same situation, I did pre-shuffle this deck. And I'm just looking for one card here, and we'll wrap up. Nope, got one there. Hold on. All right. We have Round and Round. There's the artwork, and the number is 25. So interesting there. Definitely at least seems to indicate repeated cycles. So I wonder if that's maybe how this connection has been between the two of you, where this is something that's happened before and you realize that, or maybe this person might even be realizing that that's their cycle, right? Again, like I said, maybe realizing that they were being a bit immature in the past, but let's see what it says. Okay, it says the spiral quality of events when a lesson isn't quite integrated, cycles you are challenged to break, revisiting a pattern from a new perspective. The Oracle's message. The appearance of this card is a reminder that although it may appear that you've gone backward, the truth is that you are standing at a higher level, looking down into your circumstances. You will learn something, do something better, and break a cycle set up in the past. You actually have a bird's eye view of your initial footprints and can access the wisdom and lessons learned. So definitely an interesting message there. And like I said, I feel like in a way like this almost would resonate more for the energy on this side. So definitely for those of you who, if you did feel the energy was reversed and this is more your energy and this is the other person's energy, maybe this would resonate with you a bit more. But the relationship message says, are you wondering, how did I get here again? Does something feel familiar right now in your dynamics with others? Maybe a little too familiar? Don't be surprised that you found yourself repeating an old story with the same sort of person who may not look similar, but who attracted you because of your easy acquaintance with his or her qualities. Your relationship is a mix of what is good and what is potentially challenging. You have been drawn to this person through the perfection of Spirit's plan for your evolution. You may have circled back to an accustomed spot, a familiar place, but that's fine, as you get to do things again, only differently this time, for you learned something of great value since the last time around. How will you choose to behave now that you're aware? Remain curious and stay out of the blame game. So definitely an interesting message there too. And maybe the whole message here going from the cups energy, and then we see the ace of, or rather the queen of arrows being energy of swords, which is communication. It could even just be saying that if this is a cycle you've experienced with people quite often, then maybe the message for you in that regard would be that maybe to, rather than just trying to rely on more intuition, right, to just actually communicate your needs a bit more, which is a bit of that Venusian energy, right, where you express what you need and you expect it to be fulfilled. So that could be the way it's playing out for some of you. But like I said, for a lot of you, I feel like that the message on this card could definitely resonate more for this side. But either way, I hope it resonated with you guys. We'll wrap up there. Once again, happy birthday, and I'll see you guys next month. All right, bye.